our perspective changes things. Where we look at something, how we see something, makes a big difference in how we see it. Uh, that point is illustrated by when we first moved to Sulacao. We lived about 10 miles east of the town, and about halfway between the town of Sulacao and where we lived, there's a bridge that goes over the Sturgeon River. The Sturgeon River at that point is about 40 feet deep, so it's quite deep, and there's no obstructions. And we would go, the children and I would go over there swimming under the bridge, and some people would jump off the bridge into the water. It's about 15 feet or 18 feet from the bridge to the water, and so it's a nice height to jump from. Some people would dive off of the bridge. I actually had some guests one time that came, some young men, and they were there visiting us, and then they went over to the river swimming, and they were jumping off the bridge, and then they decided that the bridge wasn't high enough, and so they had come in a small bus. So they took the bus and parked it on the bridge, and then they jumped off the roof of the bus so they would be even higher. And it's something that people in Sulacao talk about some, hey, have you ever jumped off the Sturgeon River Bridge? And I thought, I'd like to do that sometime. Um, so one summer, the water was high. And so I thought, this is my chance to jump off the Sturgeon River Bridge because the water's higher. It's not as far from the bridge down to the water. So this would be the perfect summer to do it. So we were swimming over there one day, and I said, you know what, I'm going to jump off the bridge. And I'm down in the river swimming and looking up at the bridge. I'm thinking, it doesn't look that high. Sure, I can jump off of that. So I went up and I went up on the bridge and I stood on the bridge and it looked different when I got up on the bridge and was looking down at the river. It looked a lot higher, and I kept thinking I was going to go, think I was going to jump, and I just couldn't do it. And then I got dried off, and I thought, that water's cold. I don't really want to go back in the water. And so I said, yeah, I'm not going to do it. And so then I thought, okay, I'm going to pick the perfect day. So one hot day, it was really hot. We went back there swimming, and I said, okay, I'm just going to go down in the water. I'm going to get myself wet. I'm going to go up. I'm going to jump off the bridge. And so my son said, well, uh, are you going to do it? And I said, yeah, I am. I'm going to jump. So I went up there, and he said, well, don't get yourself too cold. I said, no, I won't. I'm just going to get wet, and then I'll go up there and I'll jump. So I got wet. I went up on the bridge. And I was going to go. And my son was standing down below counting for me. 1, 2, 3, go. I just couldn't go. And I said, he said, I know what you're going to do. You're going to someday, you're going to be walking out there with your cane saying, okay, today I'm going to do it. I'm going to jump. I said, no, I won't. If I don't jump today, I'm going to take it off of my list of things to do. I'll never jump off the Sturgeon River Bridge. Well, I stood there and I tried, but I just couldn't do it. And so finally I had to admit, I am never going to jump off of the Sturgeon River Bridge. So I haven't. And I don't think I ever will, because being up on the bridge, it looks altogether different than when I'm down in the river. And sometimes I can be swimming in the river and think, I could jump off that bridge. I think, no, don't even think about that, because when you go up on the bridge, it's going to look different. And that's how a different perspective changes how we see things. I know sometimes I think we get into this life and we think, oh, things are so hard and things are so difficult and it's so discouraging. But from eternity, it might look altogether different. We'll have a different perspective. And I have a suspicion that when we get to eternity, we're going to say, why was that? Why did that seem so hard? It was so short. It was only 70 or 80 years. It wasn't that long. Why did we think it was so long? Why did we think it was so hard? So perspective changes things. And thinking about life from an eternal perspective makes a difference. in how we see life.